people are so blinded that they allow the country and themselves to suffer because of their loyalty to people who sometimes do not even care about their well-being. Yes, people, we have a remarkable thing that has happened in Kenya. A company that looks like it is in the habit of manufacturing garments has actually changed its production line so that it can manufacture masks for its people. Now, this is a far cry from some others. Now, let's take St. Lucia for example. We had in St. Lucia a few garment factories in Viewfort, and due to the government and some of its government entities not being flexible with these garment factories in terms of high rent, some of these companies actually left the country. Now, we had a similar situation that happened in Dennery. We can recall, or most people will recall, Bell Fashions was located in Dennery. Now, the government allowed Bell Fashion, which employed women from Dennery Valley and Dennery Village, when the manager begged. When you look at our situation, if right now we had a situation where we really need some serious number of masks, a certain number of masks to be produced into this in this country, where would we get these things from? Now, at this point right now, if we had even one of these garment factories open, we could have used them to increase on the supplies that we have, the supply of masks that we have right now, if we had at least one of those places opened. Anyway, we need to get back into manufacturing garments in this country. We need to get back into manufacturing panties in this country. We need to create employment. We need to continue to create employment in the area of manufacturing and the area of manufacturing of garments. Because when you look at it, more than half of the population is most likely going to be women. And it really does not make sense to be importing all of those products from overseas, whereas we could be creating employment for our people. Every time we have an election in this country, the number one thing that they say on the platform is that they're going to create employment. But yet, they allow factories to close. These factories would have been so helpful in these rural areas. Imagine having these factories in these rural areas. You having the transportation cost of those people working in this factory would be lessened, and it would be creating employment, further employment in terms of people selling food and things like that. Now, these are things that they know. They are well aware of those things. But I believe that there is a stronger reason, there is a compelling reasons. There's a compelling reason why people would allow these factories to close, when sometimes what the amount of input that they need to inject in these factories are not significant sums. So it really, as they say, beg the question, why is it that these people are allowing these factories to close? But with the virus situation here, it is just showing us how flimsy our systems are. It is just showing us that all the time when we in this country go around these political rallies and make noise for these guys, it really does not make sense. And one of the fundamental problems we have in these countries, especially in the I would say in the West Indies, in the politics of the West Indies, and specifically I would say in St. Lucia, is that when a political party is in power, and if you say anything against that party, people will castigate you, no matter what you're saying is true. And so you have a situation where people are so blinded that they allow the country and themselves to suffer because of their loyalty to people who sometimes do not even care about their well-being. So Kenya has shown us an example. They have demonstrated how, resourceful that we can be if we have things in place. And my advice to the people of this country, of St. Lucia and the other Caribbean places, because it really does not even make sense to talk to these politicians. My thing is, people, you need to get into manufacturing. And sometimes it just takes 2 people, 3 people to come together to start something. Get these machines, get these raw materials, and start putting things together. Maybe you might discover that secret. From 1977, Victoria has been keeping a secret from the people, and she's just not revealing it. But if you get into the manufacturing of things like panties and so on, maybe you might discover that secret that Victoria has been hiding from the people. Get into manufacturing, people. Forget about what these government people are thinking. You can see clearly they're not really thinking in your favor. You need to start putting things in place for yourself and for your children's children. Keep the fire burning.